Okay, 4 points, they'll be quick, and I don't think we need a response. First, you didn't show the same thing you showed last time where about 16% of the cars parked in these congested blocks was from the neighborhood. And so, I mean, the commuter problem is so much of more magnitude than the local problem. I think this notion of, that the permits will get overwhelmed by folks in this neighborhood is kind of a red herring. So I really think we need to address that commuter issue and be laser focused on that, and I don't see how this plan does that. So that's first. Second, I don't quite see why you're getting involved in trying to do the work of the planning department by trying to guess land uses inside buildings. I was one of the folks working for 10 weary fighting years on the Eastern Neighborhoods rezoning, and the planning department gave up trying to figure out the land uses in this neighborhood. So now, a couple of years after that, the MTA is going to try to come in and do the same thing. You guys have enough trouble being a transit agency. You don't need to be a second planning department.
Yeah. Please help us.
Well, that leads me to my third point, because I've heard enough neighborhood meetings with MTA staff where they have said that certain businesses shouldn't be here, and that commuters from outside the area who need to go to their jobs in Soma are stakeholders too and need to be treated the same way as workers here. I have heard that firsthand in these meetings.
I think what we meant by that is, for example, there are people who are driving from elsewhere, parking in your neighborhood, and then hopping on BART to go, to the East Bay or downtown.
Yes, and those are the people who I've been told firsthand are stakeholders too, and you want to treat them equally with workers here. That is dead wrong as far as city policy goes. Okay? So if you're going to be a second planning department, at least have the same policies as the real planning department. Okay? The reason I bring this up is that everybody in this room knows that the MTA has no trouble pushing forward policies that aren't popular with people. Okay? January 13th of last year, the predecessor to this plan went for a hearing at City Hall. Mr. Premis was there. I'm not sure who else was there. Hundreds of people spoke out against it, and then in 5 minutes they rubber stamped it and it was going to the MTA board. Okay? So the slide you had on saying, oh, well, we took more time because the people asked for more time. Well, no, that wasn't the reason the plan was stopped. That was on January 13th. On January 25th, there was a legal challenge filed. On the 27th, the plan was withdrawn. And on the 30th, you were back here apologizing to the neighborhood and saying you want to take more time. The reason I bring that up is that you've had 14 months since then. And you have a grand total of 2 parking management tools that you're using out of your vast toolbox. RPP and a particular kind of meter, which is like trying to do surgery with a fork and knife in this neighborhood. You want to study more, and you want to get more input about PDR. You've had 14 months, and you're still insisting on using these 2 tools. You want to study more, but also the comment period is closing. So the fear, and it's real, is that you're going to run out the clock on us, move forward with the proposal, and we'll never get to that kind of solution. That's unfair to this neighborhood.
Okay, so one thing I do want to clarify. The comment period is closing on the current proposal, which is a draft, and which I can guarantee you will change. In fact, it will change as it's already changing in the heads of the staff people over there. And that there is some urgency in implementing something this summer in coordination with the park closure, or the parking lot closure for the park. There is remaining work that will be going on, focused on the solution for the PDR businesses. That will be largely involving the business leaders and coming up with a solution for that. But we do want to have a strategy in time for the park, at least for the core part of the neighborhood, as well as to address the long-standing desire for residential permits. Okay, now I promised this group of people.
I want to ask you some questions about this, because you haven't changed the plan. The only positive thing I can see from our discussions with the MTA is that you're proposing to phase this plan, and that you've actually allowed for the RPPs to actually grow larger, which I think is a positive thing. That's the only positive thing I can see here. You actually are still blanketing the whole neighborhood with meters. You said actually, you told me, and I think you're lying about this, you told me that specifically that meters are going to be put in front of businesses that want them. So you're actually telling me that 10 blocks of the Mission want meters? That's what you actually are showing on your plan.
No, wait,
let me talk here. Because you're saying you are pushing this, you're forcing this onto our neighborhood. And you're saying that what you're saying is the only PDR districts are 3 or 4 blocks of the center of this neighborhood. Look at your plan that you just presented to us. So I want to understand that. I don't think that if you actually polled the businesses and this policy that the only good parking plan is one where one can just drive up and park, I question that. If you wanted to do that, why wouldn't you just put a meter on every block and charge $10 an hour? And then you would then everybody can get a parking space for the ones that want to come here.
For 10 minutes.
No, but I don't think your plan is duplicitous here, because you are not actually showing what's happening. All the orange zone, which is the midterm, that's all still metered. It's not actually going to be RTP or a business permit. We proposed to the MTA to look at Portland because they have actually a business permit program. And we also said, as part of the carrot and stick, that if MTA could actually get Muni to run, we would actually lower the amount of business permits that would be allowable.
All right.
We have actually many Muni lines running through our district here. So this kind of incentive to like stop the buses, or because the cars are blocking the buses, I think that's again another reason in your bag of tricks to kind of force this plan on us.
That's right. That's right.
It is disingenuous. And actually, I know you have an answer for every single thing that's being said here. You're a paid consultant to try to smooth this thing over. And it is actually this public process that you're engaging in is actually, it's just all lip service. You don't actually really care because you don't live here anymore. You just probably have a $100,000 contract to do this public engagement. And I know this because I've sat on the other side where I actually sat on the commission in the Golden Gate Park for 10 years. We had to implement a transportation plan. And we even paid your firm hundreds of thousands of dollars to deal with this. And I resent that. I resent the fact that tell us what we should be doing in our neighborhood.
That's right.